Hey everyone, welcome to Judging for the Win. I'm Dave, and this is my daily ruling. Today, I'm going to be talking about a creature so monstrous that it ignores insignificant forces like entropy, time, and death. Platinum Emperion is a crazy design with a splashy effect, and like most such cards, it has a bunch of unique interactions leading to a bunch of rules questions. Let's talk about that. We'll get started with one straight out of the Judge vault. Amy puts Platinum Emperion into play with Madcap Experiment. How much life does she lose? To answer this one, let's recall that when you're resolving a spell, you follow all the instructions in the order that they're written down. Because the part where you put Platinum Emperion into play happens before the part where you take damage, that would mean the damage you suffer will not cause your life total to change. Another classic is how Big Plat works with fetch lands. As the reminder text on the original version helpfully points out, if your life total can't change, you cannot legally pay any amount of life besides 0. Therefore, it is not possible to crack a fetch land. Let's say Amy attacks Nick, who controls Platinum Emperion, with a creature that has Lifelink, and Nick doesn't block. In that case, Amy would gain life equal to the damage dealt by her Lifelinker, even though Nick's life total stayed the same. To understand why this is, we'll need a little bit of background on how Lifelink functions. Damage in Magic is processed using a 4-step sequence. After checking for excess damage, the game deals the damage, then the game figures out what the results of that damage are, and after that, those results actually happen in the game. Normally, the results of the damage just depend on what is being dealt damage. For Planeswalkers, the result is a number of counters being removed. For players, it's losing a certain amount of life, and so on. Lifelink makes it so that, in addition to the normal results, the player who controls the Lifelink source also gains life. So let's say Amy's 2/2 Lifelinker is going to deal 2 damage to a player who controls Platinum Emperion. Then what would officially happen in the game would go something like this. Since Storyseeker's power is 2, it deals 2 damage to Nick. The game processes this into the results of Amy gains 2 life and Nick loses 2 life. Because of Platinum Emperion, Nick's life total won't change, but there's no reason Amy couldn't gain 2, and so that's exactly what would happen. The same principle applies in reverse too. If a player who controls Platinum Emperion attacks with a Lifelinker, the Lifelink creature will still cause the opponent to lose life, even though its controller cannot gain life. For the same reason, abilities that trigger when you deal or are dealt damage will still trigger when the affected player controls Platinum Emperion, although ones that trigger when you gain or lose life will not. In the same way, replacement effects that look for something to deal damage will apply as normal, but those that look for something to lose life, those will not. Here's a little bit more exotic one. Amy's at 20 life and controls Platinum Emperion when she activates Tree of Redemption. Well, Amy's life total can't change, so she's definitely going to stay at 20. But what about Tree of Redemption's toughness? And the answer is that the tree's toughness stays the same. Because Platinum Emperion, Amy cannot exchange her life total for anything that would result in a higher or lower value. If one part of the exchange can't happen, the whole thing gets called off. Effects that redistribute life totals interact with Platinum Emperion in the same way. Let's cool down with some challenge questions to test your understanding. If you have a Invigorate and your opponent has a Platinum Emperion, can you alt cast it? And the answer is no. Just like they cannot pay life, you cannot have them gain life. Next up, Amy attacks with a 21 power commander at Nick, who controls a Platinum Emperion. Nick doesn't block. Does he lose? And here he does. Remember that even though Platinum Emperion interferes with one of the normal effects of damage, the damage still counts as being dealt. Losing due to taking 21 commander damage is therefore still very much on the table. How about this, Nefarious Lich? How does that work with Platinum Emperion? And the answer is very poorly. The top ability is a replacement effect that interacts with you being dealt damage. Since you can still be dealt damage, this ability functions exactly the same as it normally would. You still have to exile cards from your graveyard or lose the game anytime something damages you. In contrast, the second ability is a replacement effect that interacts with you gaining life. If it's not possible to gain life, this ability won't do anything at all. Next, let's take a look at this Blood Scrivener. If you have a Platinum Emperion out, drawing a card while Hellbound will be replaced by drawing 2 cards and not losing any life. The reason this is different is because the life change happens in the effects part of the replacement effect rather than the thing that's getting replaced. If you cannot lose life, then any replacement effect that wants to replace the event of you losing life will never apply, because the thing it's looking to replace is never going to happen. In contrast, a replacement effect that wants to replace something with an event that includes you losing life can still apply. The part where you lose the life just won't happen. This is similar to how it's a 100% legal play to cast a Triumphant Surge against an indestructible creature, and you'll still gain the life. That's all I have for you today. How did you do? Join me again next time for another daily ruling. Until then, I hope you have a great day.